Right now, we want to switch gears and talk about Charlotte news. The local headline, of course, is safety, our transportation in light of a deadly light rail stabbing almost 2 months ago when it happened to Irina Zurutska on the light rail. So talk of the town right now and at Monday night's city council meeting is transit authority. Right? And a little bit of drama as Julie Kay is in here now, live in the Impact studio. Monday, this is really, now we're continuing because nothing happened on Monday night's meeting, right?
Yes, usually Tuesday would be the day I follow up on council, but since nothing was really decided on this front, we have pushed it back to next Monday. So we're really looking ahead to what can we do going forward. You mentioned this transit authority, and that has been kind of the biggest piece of the puzzle recently. We talked a lot about this sales tax that's on your ballot, yes, in November, but early voting starts next week. So this is a very current discussion. Mecklenburg County voters will be able to decide whether or not to pass a 1 cent or 1% sales tax to increase to fund transit projects. Not just the light rail, also includes buses and roads, but that percentage of what goes to what is already decided. The actual projects themselves will be decided by a transit authority. So there's different people that appointed. It's a 27-seat board. Council gets 12 of those seats. Otherwise, it's the county commissioners and the governor, and the legislature gets some say, business leaders. But 12 is a pretty big chunk.
Yeah.
So council is right now having to make decisions about who's going to be on this board. Meanwhile, they're all up for the most part for re-election themselves, so we don't know if people making decisions now are going to be the same in December. This board has to be done and put in place per the legislature by January 1st. So they're making these decisions before the sales tax even passes. So there's a lot of
moving parts.
Yes, weird, tight deadlines that they're working against. At the same time, really, they're not able to agree on who should be in charge of this process and who should be allowed to be on it. District 5, Marjorie Molina, she lost her primary election, so she is not going to be on the ballot this time. She has applied to be on the transit authority.
Okay.
She argues that this is fine because she says it's a volunteer position and she's not up for re-election anyway. Some other council members disagreed, saying, Tijuana Brown said, that's a red flag to me because this, you're trying to serve for something else and we'll be the ones interviewing you. And the city attorney said, it's not necessarily a volunteer position. They have not decided on compensation, but per the legislation, they could. So like I said, lots of moving parts, as you said, going into this. But basically, they just decided to defer any of those decisions to next week.
I just don't see how they can make any kind of...
So kicking the can, essentially.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. How they can solve anything from, this past week to next Monday. There's a lot of questions.
Yeah, and they did make some thoughts about transparency concerns in general. So they did do some things in terms of this list of applicants is online, accessible. You don't have to submit a public records request. It is supposed to update every day at 4 p.m. So you can see some other familiar names, some former council candidates. Kimberly Owens, who is the Democrat in District 6, who's the Democratic candidate. I believe that's the same Kimberly Owens is on this list. It's a long list so far, actually, so council has quite a bit of work to do. Those interviews will have to start very soon, again, before that tax would even pass. So I believe they also decided to make those interviews streamable. Any council member can be a part of those interviews and bring questions, whereas prior to this, it was really just 3 of the council members that were in charge of it. They've kind of expanded that, but they haven't made any decisions about who is allowed to and who's not, and that's going to be a decision for next week. So, yeah.
Wow. And thank you for sorting all of this out.
Does that make sense?
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, trying to break that down. Good luck in trying to
put this into a 1-minute piece.
Yeah. Julie, every time she comes in here, we're like, good for you to ingest it and then take it all out, but like getting it into a minute and a half is like, impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah,
it can get a little convoluted.
It's dramatic. It's a lot of drama in a minute and a half.
Yes.
Need those snackables. All right, but we will try to follow that as best as we can. And again, early voting is next week, so that really makes sense that council needs to make some get on it.
Assuming it passes.
Assuming it passes.